Is it going? Oh, it is. Okay.
You're watching The Adventures of Awesome Annie. I'm Annie. Life's awesome, so let's live it together.
I feel like it's been a long time since I've given you a good story or a good adventure, and I promise you more are coming and more are on their way, but for the next 2 weeks, we're just going to stick with what we've got. Spiders. I'm so done with spiders. So let's see. When I was growing up, I played the violin, and I took Suzuki lessons, classical, for most of my life, with my sister being my main Suzuki teacher, until high school when I switched to taking Celtic fiddle lessons from an Irishman named P.V. O'Donnell, who has since passed away. He was a great teacher and a great musician. And then in college, I also continued to take lessons, and I got a music minor, which was great. But because of that, I did a lot of traveling with my violin. I would take my violin, who at the time of this story was named Roosevelt. I would take my violin on flights with me across the country, and every time I had to go through security, they would do the drug swab tests or whatever those are of the inside of my case. They always had to open it, and the thing is, it's not easy to open my violin, and so, but they won't let you touch it because, you know, there might be a bomb in there or something, I don't know. So they always have to figure it out, and you just kind of stand there while they try and finagle the thing open. It's hilarious every time. But they always think it's a gun. And I can't tell you how many passengers on the flights, flight attendants, security personnel, passerbys in the middle of the airport have asked me, is that a gun? Like I would be carrying a gun around in the airport that's that big, with my innocent, smiling little face. So a lot of times I would joke around that it was a gun, but it's just a violin. Anyway, a couple times I've had people, after I've told them it's a violin, be very interested in the fact that I'm bringing my violin with me, and that has led to some great stories. One of which happened on a Southwest Airlines flight from I'm not sure where it was from, Mississippi maybe, to Idaho, maybe, or Colorado. I can't remember where I was coming from and where I was going to, but I know that we were flying over California. It was a one-stop flight, but they presented it as a non-stop because that plane was continuing on to my destination, so I didn't deplane the plane. Everybody else got off the plane and new passengers got on the plane, but myself and one other passenger, we stayed on the plane during that flip over because this was our plane to the next destination. So the flight attendants had to check all the baggage and make sure that the ones that were still there were ours, and that, you know, anything else was taken off the plane or lost and found or whatever. So they open the cubby and they see my violin up on top, and the flight attendant was like, "Oh, what's this? Is this yours?" I said, "Yes, that's mine. It's a violin." And she was instantly very curious about my violin, and she said, "Oh, you should play something for us." And I laughed because it's an airplane and you don't play stuff for people on an airplane. And I figured she was joking, but she wasn't joking. She wanted me to play them a little ditty while we waited, because we had about a 20-minute wait and there wasn't anything to do. So I got my violin out and I played for them a little bit. I played for them my whatever song I was working on and a couple other things. And she really loved that, and the pilot came out and they had a good time listening to myself play the violin. So after, they're getting ready to load the people on, and I had to put my violin up, and the flight attendant asked me if I would be willing to play my violin for all the passengers once we, get to smooth sailing in flight. And I, again, thought she was maybe joking. I don't know. So I was like, I mean, sure, I guess, because that's usually how I answer. And the flight attendant was so elated. She was like, "Really? Oh my goodness! Yes, we love that!" So the flight goes on, and I figured she had forgotten about it, but she hadn't. I don't know why I figured that. I should have known that this lady was in it to win it. So we go through, get everybody on board. It was a packed flight, no empty seats. Every seat was taken, and I moved over to the emergency aisle because I knew I would have more room. Every seat was taken. So when they go over the intercom to do like the intro announcements and safety procedures, whatnot, she said, we have a special guest with us today on the airplane. Her name is Ann Donnelly, and she's a musician, and she'll be playing for us in flight today. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like a celebrity. It was really great. So we waited, and then they started the beverage service, and the flight attendant would come around and she said, after the beverage service, you're going to be up. And I was like, okay. So we're flying over California. They just finished handing out all the beverages, which is like the worst time for me to try and bring my violin out because there's like trays everywhere with beverages on them. So I grabbed my violin from the cubby and bring it down, but I didn't have anywhere to open it. My case is longer than a seat is wide. So I had to impose on the person sitting next to me, and I put my case on their lap. And I was like, can I put this here to open it? I'm going to be playing for everyone. And he was like, sure, my daughter plays the violin. This is so exciting. She's like 7, but this is really great. And I was like, all right, well, cool. So he held my case open for me, and I pulled my violin out. And so I played my violin for everyone. I played one of the songs I had recently composed, and I played Amazing Grace. It was a Sunday. And I think I played one more thing, I'm not sure what. And everybody clapped on the flight, so it was really loud, surprisingly. They were all clapping, and I was trying to play as loud as I could so everyone could hear me on the flight, because it's loud. And I almost said in outer space, but I mean, yeah, bumblebee, no, wasp! I don't like bugs. Sorry about that. Okay. You know how I am about wasps. Go see I will put a card right there. It should have a little eye. Go click on that and watch my last wasp video. Anyway, so, where was I? Oh, I was playing my violin. Everyone was clapping. So then afterwards, Southwest Airlines got together a goodie bag, a barf bag, actually. It was a barf bag. A barf bag full of goodies for me, which is much better than what you usually would find in a barf bag. Which would be barf. Anyway, they put in like Nutri-Grain, blueberry, granola bars, like those Fig Newton type bars, and a whole deck of playing cards, 2 fancy hard plastic baggage tags. Did I already say a poker deck of cards? Yes. Some other snacks, a whole lot of pretzels, some candy. They put this whole thing on there, and then on the bag, they wrote, thank you from Southwest Airlines, and they all signed it, and it was this huge thing. Like, they all got super into this. And I know Southwest often does fun things in midair, like they're known on YouTube for their, safety rap videos, and, having celebrities on, they make them do, like, all the cellists will all play, or a cappella group or whatnot. So it was really neat, but, like, one time I got to do that, and the entire plane was there listening to a song that I wrote, and some other songs that I was playing on the violin. So it was really cool. I got to my destination, and I was just like, all right, I don't know what just happened, but that was cool. So that was my story. I hope you liked it. I'll probably do another story next week because they're just easier for me to edit together than adventures are, and adventures take me like a couple weeks to film usually. So that's what I'm up to. That's my story. Leave me a comment. Subscribe to my channel. You can also find in the description links to my social media, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, things like that. I have a Google Plus also, but I never use it. So feel free to follow me on Google Plus, but it's not preferred for me. I think that's it. Feel free to go watch I should have a link up here with a picture that you can click on to my previous stories, and also other adventures and bonus videos that I have. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Actually, it's Thursday, isn't it? So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Yeah.